On the morning the first hard frost bit the town of Rattlesnake Hollow, a dead coyote lay stiff beside the church steps, and the wind came down from the black hills like a warning from God. Folks stopped to stare at the animal, boots grinding in pale dust that had turned white with ice. Men pulled their collars high. Women hurried by with baskets tucked to their ribs. Even the horses seemed uneasy. Their breath smoked in the air. Their eyes rolled toward the north. Before we continue, if you are new to my YouTube channel/page, please like, subscribe, and comment where you are listening from, and share this story with your friends. Let's continue. Winter was coming early, but in Rattlesnake Hollow, pride was quicker than fear, and mockery was cheaper than coal. At the end of Main Street stood a narrow shop with one cracked front window and a faded sign that read, "Mending, Hemming, Repairing." The paint had peeled so badly that some letters were nearly gone. Inside that shop sat the woman the town barely saw unless it needed her hands. Her name was Eliza Vale. She was not old, though hardship had put shadows beneath her eyes. She wore plain dresses the color of storm dust and kept her dark hair pinned high and tight, as if neatness could shield a person from insult. Her fingers were small, quick, and lined with tiny scars from years of needle pricks. Every day she bent over torn sleeves, split trousers, wedding hems, church coats, saddle blankets, and work shirts stiff with sweat and mine dust. She fixed what other people had spoiled, yet no one in Rattlesnake Hollow spoke her name with warmth. Some said she brought misfortune because both her parents had died within one winter. Some said she was too quiet, and quiet women made people uneasy. Some said she had no business living alone above a shop. Others simply enjoyed having someone beneath them. The cruelest among them called her the seamstress nobody wanted. Eliza had heard it enough times that the words no longer cut clean. They sank slower now, like dull blades. That morning she was sewing a torn wool coat for Sheriff Braddock when the bell above her door gave a tired little ring. She looked up. The man who entered had snow dusted on his shoulders, though no snow had yet fallen in town. He was tall, broad through the chest, and rough in the hands the way men became after years underground. His beard was trimmed badly, as if he had done it with a pocket knife in poor light. His name was Gideon Pike. Most folks called him Pike. He worked the North Ridge mines when there was work to be found. He spoke little. He drank less than other miners. And though he was not handsome in the polished way some women liked, there was something steady in him, something built to endure. He removed his hat and stood near the door, bringing cold with him. "You got room for one more repair?" he asked. Eliza nodded toward the table. "Set it down." He laid a heavy canvas coat before her. One sleeve had been torn nearly to the shoulder. The lining was singed black. She turned it over. "You catch fire?" "Near enough." Her eyes lifted. "Mind trouble?" He glanced at the window, at the white frost creeping across its edges. "No, tunnel test." Eliza paused. "Tunnel?" "A heating run," he said, "below the south row." "I've been working at it after shift." She frowned. "For what?" He stepped closer, lowered his voice, though no one else was there. "You feel this cold?" "Everyone feels it. This ain't ordinary cold." He rested his knuckles on the table. 3 nights now, the air up north has dropped sharp as a knife. Creekskins already freezing at dawn. Ground's going hard before November's done. I seen this once as a boy in Montana territory. Lost 32 souls in 6 days. Men froze in their sheds. Families burned furniture to stay alive. Eliza studied him. There was no drama in his face, no hunger to frighten, just fact. "What kind of tunnel?" she asked quietly. "Old silver shaft under the ridge runs nearer town than folks know. Warm air builds there from the deep rock. I'm cutting a narrow passage toward Main Street cellars. If I can vent it proper and feed fire chambers along the line, it may carry heat under the buildings." Eliza stared. "You mean to warm the whole town?" "If they let me." That made her let out the smallest, bitter breath. "They won't." Pike's mouth shifted, not quite a smile. "No, they won't." Outside, laughter rose from the boardwalk, voices passed the window. Eliza did not need to look to know whose they were. Mrs. Weller, who owned the boarding house; Amos Trent, who sold feed and liked the sound of his own cruelty; Deputy Harlan Reese, who laughed whenever others did and thought that made him strong. The bell rang again before Pike could answer. Mrs. Weller herself swept in with cold cheeks and bright, hard eyes, followed by Amos Trent. She carried a pile of table linens under one arm. "Well," she said, stopping short when she saw Pike. There's our tunnel king." Amos barked a laugh. "Digging holes to chase summer back, Pike?" Pike straightened slowly. "Morning." Mrs. Weller laid the linens down without looking at Eliza. "Need these repaired by Saturday. Boarders tear things worse than wolves." Eliza touched the stack. "I'll do what I can." Mrs. Weller finally turned her head. "You always do. Quiet hands, empty life." Amos grinned at that, but his eyes had shifted to Pike. "You still boring under town?" "Still trying to keep fools warm," Pike said. Amos leaned a shoulder against the doorway. "Folks are saying you gone touched in the head. Wasting strength on some buried stove dream. Mayor says if you crack the foundation under the saloon, he'll horsewhip you himself." Mrs. Weller sniffed. "Town needs wood, not madness, and if the cold comes, we'll manage as we always do." Pike looked at her with flat calm. "You always had men hauling your wood and stoking your fires. That ain't the same as managing." Her face tightened. Eliza kept her head lowered, but she heard every word like hammer blows. Amos smirked. "You sound mighty brave for a man covered in dirt and owing 3 months' tab." Pike's eyes narrowed. "And you sound mighty safe for a man who's never worked deeper than his own pockets." For one dangerous second, the room held still. Then Amos laughed too loudly. "Hear that, Mrs. Weller? Miner thinks himself an engineer now." Mrs. Weller lifted her chin and turned toward Eliza. "Mind you don't let him fill your head with nonsense. Last thing this town needs is another lonely soul chasing delusions." She said it softly, but it struck harder than a shout. When they left, not taking their perfume in spite with them, the room seemed colder than before. Eliza threaded her needle with hands she would not let shake. Pike watched her. "You ought not let them speak to you that way." She gave a thin smile that held no joy. Then they would only speak louder. He was silent for a moment. "You ever think of leaving this place?" "Every week." "Why don't you?" Her fingers moved over the torn canvas sleeve. "Because somewhere else, I would still arrive as myself. And folk have a way of deciding what to do with women alone." Pike said nothing to that. He knew truth when he heard it. At last he reached into his coat and placed 2 silver coins on the table, more than the repair was worth. "Eliza." She looked up. "If the cold breaks bad, don't stay alone upstairs. Come to the old assay office near the ridge. I've bricked one room and lined it. It'll hold heat." She blinked. "You expect it that bad?" "I expect worse." He took his coat receipt and turned for the door. "Why tell me?" she asked. He paused with one hand on the latch. "Because," he said without looking back, "you mend what everybody tears. Seems to me someone ought to warn you before the whole town starts cracking." Then he stepped out into the bitter morning. Eliza sat still long after he was gone. Through the window, she watched him cross Main Street. Men standing outside the saloon called to him. One made a digging motion and doubled over laughing. Another tipped an imaginary hat and shouted something she could not hear. Pike did not answer. He kept walking toward the north end of town, where the mine road climbed into stone and shadow. That evening, after the sun bled out behind the hills, the cold sharpened further. Main Street thinned early. Piano music from the saloon sounded brittle, like it might snap in two. Smoke from chimneys rose straight upward, not drifting, as if the sky itself had frozen still. Eliza finished her work by lamplight and carried a basket of mended clothes to Mrs. Weller's boarding house. No one offered to take the basket. No one offered even a proper thanks. She was turning to leave when she heard men talking near the porch steps. "Saw him again at dusk," one said, "hauling iron grates and limestone." "Let the fool dig," another replied. "When the ground gives under him, that'll be the end of his winter sermon." Laughter followed. Eliza stepped back into the street without a word. On her way home, she passed the church, the sheriff's office, the shuttered barber, the general store. Every building looked proud in the dark, planted on the earth as though it had the right to stand there forever. Then she reached the rise at the edge of town and looked north. Far off, near the ridge, a lantern moved in the black like a stubborn star. Once. Twice. Then again, lower now, as if carried into the mouth of the earth. Pike was still working. The wind changed. It came down the slope with a long, low cry, sweeping dust, frost, and something else with it. Something deep, something ancient and merciless. Horses began to whinny from their corrals. A dog barked, then yelped and went silent. Eliza clutched her shawl tight. From somewhere beneath her boots came a faint sound. Not thunder, not exactly, a groan, a shifting. As if the frozen ground below Rattlesnake Hollow had turned in its sleep. She looked back toward town. Lamps flickered in windows. Laughter spilled from the saloon. No one else seemed to notice. Then, from the hill by the cemetery, a voice tore through the dark. "Pike!" A man was running full speed toward the ridge road, waving his hat, shouting with panic so sharp it made Eliza's blood go cold. "The lower shafts broke open!" The lantern near the ridge vanished, and all at once, the wind began to howl. Before dawn, the church bell began to ring without rhythm, and every strike sounded like a coffin nail driven into the dark. Eliza woke to the sound with her blanket stiff around her shoulders and frost blooming along the inside of her window. For one confused second, she thought she had slept outside. Her room was so cold her breath came white and sharp. The wash basin beside the bed had skinned over with ice. Then she heard the shouting below. Not drunken shouting, not saloon noise, fear. She threw on her dress, wrapped her shawl tight, and hurried downstairs. By the time she reached the street, the town of Rattlesnake Hollow was already half awake and wholly frightened. A hard white wind tore through Main Street. It drove grit into eyes and split words apart in people's mouths. Snow had not fallen, but the air had the bite of iron. Men stood outside with axes trying to chop frozen wood. Women clutched children beneath quilts and hurried toward the church. Horses stamped and screamed in their stalls. One mule had gone down in the feedlot and would not rise. And from the north end of town, where the mine road climbed into rock, men were dragging someone on a makeshift sled. Eliza pushed through the crowd. It was Pike. His face was gray with cold and streaked with dirt. Blood had dried black along his temple. His right sleeve was torn open, and his hand hung useless at his side. Two miners hauled him by the shoulders while another stumbled behind carrying tools. Sheriff Braddock bent low over him. What broke? Pike coughed once, then spat red into the snow dust. Lower shaft caved near the old silver vein, opened a pocket under the south row. He struggled to sit, but the men forced him down. "Cold's pulling hard through the break, faster than I reckoned." Mayor Coyle, round-bellied and wrapped in 3 coats, shoved forward with his jaw already set for blame. "I warned you! I said no more digging under this town!" Pike looked up at him with fury too tired to flare. "If I had 2 more days, your town would have had heat." "And instead, it has holes," Coyle snapped. "You done enough." Pike seized the mayor's coat with his good hand. "Listen to me. This freeze ain't passing by noon. The ridge wind has found the lower channels. It's running under the buildings. Floors will go cold as gravestone. Pipes'll split. Stock'll die. Folks in those draft houses east of the church won't last 2 nights." Coyle jerked free. "You speak like a prophet to hide your folly." "No," Pike said, voice rough. "I speak like a miner who knows what the earth is doing." But the mayor had already turned to the crowd. "Hear me now," he shouted. "No one is to go near those tunnels. We keep to our homes, bank our fires, and wait this cold out like decent people." Some nodded at once because fear liked a loud voice. Others looked north with doubt. And still others looked at Pike the way folks looked at a man who had tried to help and failed, with anger that was easier than gratitude. Eliza stood at the edge of them all, cold slipping through her boots. Then she saw what no one else seemed to notice. Pike's left boot was burned black around the sole, not frozen, burned. He had found heat. He met her eyes for one short moment, and something passed between them before the sheriff's men carried him toward the doctor's office. By noon, the storm became a siege. The sky turned hard and pale. Wind screamed down alleys and through cracks in walls. Doors had to be tied shut with rope. Chimneys smoked badly because the air pressed downward. No wagon came in. No rider went out. The road south vanished under drifting dust and frost. Inside her shop, Eliza tried to keep a fire alive, but the little stove could not hold against such cold. She wore gloves with the fingertips cut away so she could still sew, though her hands ached like broken glass. By late afternoon, 3 townsfolk had come to her door asking for blankets, wool scraps, old cloth, anything that might keep children warm. Each one had slighted her before. She gave what she had. A widow from the livery took 2 patched quilts and could not meet Eliza's eyes. Amos Trent's youngest boy came shivering for mittens because the store had run out, and Eliza gave him a pair she had made years ago for a child she never had. Mrs. Weller's kitchen girl arrived in tears and asked if there were extra curtain cloth to stuff in broken window frames. Eliza handed it over without question. By sundown, her shelves were nearly bare. Still, the cold deepened. At last, she pulled on her coat and crossed the street to the doctor's office. The bell above the door clattered wild in the wind as she entered. Dr. Harlan was tending Pike near the stove. The miner sat shirtless on a chair while the doctor wrapped his ribs. Purple bruises spread across his side like storm clouds over bad land. His shoulder was bound. A cut along his temple had been stitched neat and ugly. The doctor frowned when he saw Eliza. "If you're sick, join the line." "I'm not sick." She looked at Pike. "I came to ask a question." The doctor muttered and turned away to fetch bandages. Pike pulled his shirt back on with effort. "Then ask." She stepped closer and kept her voice low. "Your boot." His eyes sharpened. "What about it?" It was singed. For a moment he said nothing. Then he rose, ignoring the doctor's warning. "Come here," he said. He led her to the back room where wood was stacked against the wall and old medical ledgers lay in piles. There, with the storm rattling the windows, he crouched and drew a rough map in spilled ash on the floorboards. "Town sits here," he said, marking squares. "Old Silver Shaft runs beneath the ridge and bends under the south row. Deep rock holds warmth. I found it months ago. Not fire, not boiling water, just earth heat. Constant, strong. If it's guided proper, it can move through brick throat chambers and grates, slow but enough to keep cellars and lower floors from freezing." Eliza stared at the marks. "You built part of it already." He nodded. "Half the line, maybe more. I got vent shafts cut under the old mercantile, the church, and 2 houses near the wash. But the cave-in sealed the main throat. Can it be opened?" "With men and tools." She almost laughed at the madness of the question. "The men are listening to Mayor Coyle. Then they'll bury this town in its own pride." He stood and swayed once before catching himself on the wall. "You should be in bed," she said, "and you should be somewhere warm. You said that yesterday. And I mean it more today." But Eliza was not looking at him. She was looking at the ash map, at the squares that stood for homes, at the church cellar, at the boarding house, at her own shop. "How many would this line save?" she asked. His answer came plain. "All of them, if it runs by nightfall tomorrow." She closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw Mrs. Weller with her sharp tongue, Amos Trent with his sneer, Mayor Coyle wrapped in self-importance like a blanket. The women who never invited her to church supper, the men who called her unlucky, the children who repeated what their parents said and laughed when she passed. Then she saw the kitchen girl's red hands, Amos's boy shivering in the doorway, the widow who had taken quilts and whispered thank you like a confession. She thought of frozen floors, of babies, of old folk, of animals crying in the dark. When she opened her eyes, there was no softness in them, only decision. "What do you need?" she asked. Pike stared at her. "Eliza? What do you need?" He let out one breath. "Lanterns, rope, 3 strong picks, shovels, 2 crowbars, brick if we can find it, and somebody to make people listen. That last part I can't promise. Neither can I. She drew her shawl tighter. More then we begin without their permission. The first person she went to was the blacksmith. Jonah Creed opened his forge door only a crack, heat blazing behind him. "Town's shut in," he said. "I ain't lending tools for fool work." "Elijah Bales froze in his stable this afternoon," Eliza said. Jonah's face changed. Elijah was his wife's brother. "The doctor says his heart gave out from cold," she continued. "There will be more." Jonah looked past her at the white wind tearing the street apart. At last, he opened the door wider. "Take what you need." The second was the church. Reverend Sloane was helping women boil soup over a weak stove in the fellowship room. He listened, lips pressed thin, while Eliza explained the tunnel and the heat below town. "Mayor says the mine work caused this," he said carefully. "Mayor says whatever keeps blame from his own doorstep," Eliza replied. That startled him. She stepped closer. "Reverend, if there is warmth under this town and we do nothing because the man who found it is mocked, then the sin will not be his." Minutes later, 2 farm boys from the church were hauling lanterns through the storm. By night, a small band had formed. Jonah the blacksmith, Reverend Sloane, the church boys, the widow from the livery who brought blankets and hot coffee. Even the kitchen girl from Mrs. Weller's boarding house came with rags for wrapping hands. And at the head of them, walking into the dark with a lantern in one hand and Pike's ash map folded in her coat, went Eliza Vale, the woman nobody wanted. Main Street watched from shutter cracks and frosted windows. Some called her mad. Some called her desperate. And some said she was only following another fool into the ground. Let them speak. At the mine road, Pike waited with his shoulder bound and his face pale as winterbone. He took the map from her and looked over the little group that had come. "This all?" he asked. "For now," Eliza said. His eyes moved back to her. "Then for now, it is enough." They climbed toward the ridge under a moon blurred by blowing frost. Below them, Rattlesnake Hollow crouched in the valley, dim and brittle, a town holding its breath. When they reached the broken mouth of the lower shaft, a blast of strange air rushed out to meet them. Not cold, warm, warm as breath from the chest of the earth. The people behind Eliza fell silent. Pike lifted his lantern and looked into the black opening. "There," he said. Far below, beyond fallen timber and shattered stone, and something glowed faint and red in the deep, and then from inside the tunnel came the sound of cracking rock, followed by a cry that was not made by wind at all. The cry from inside the mountain did not sound human at first. It sounded like the earth itself had found a voice and decided to mourn. Everyone froze at the mouth of the lower shaft. Lantern light trembled against the broken timbers. Warm air poured up from the dark in soft, steady breaths, carrying the smell of wet stone, coal dust, and something deep and old. Beneath it all came that sound again, faint now, ragged, frightened. A man, Jonah Creed, swore under his breath, "Someone's down there." Pike took one step forward, then another, wincing as pain bit through his ribs. "I told the crew to stay clear after the cave-in." "Then who would be fool enough to go below?" Reverend Sloane asked. Eliza already knew. Mayor Coyle. Pride had a way of sneaking into danger after telling others to stay safe. Pike lifted his lantern higher. The passage sloped down sharply past broken beams and fresh-fallen stone. A section of the tunnel roof had partly collapsed, leaving a jagged mouth no wider than a coffin lid. Beyond it glimmered that strange red light far below, steady and living. Another cry came up. This time there was no mistake. "Help!" Jonah looked at Pike. "We'll need to clear it." Pike shook his head. "Not by force. Bring down more rock and he dies." Eliza stepped closer to the opening. Heat brushed her face. It was real. All of it. The tunnel. The warmth. The chance they had mocked because the man who built it wore mine dust instead of a suit coat. She turned. "Then we do it careful." The work began at once. Jonah and the church boys set lanterns around the mouth of the shaft. Reverend Sloane kept people back and sent one boy racing downhill for more rope. Pike lay flat on the frozen ground and studied the broken stones, tracing the cracks with his fingers. He gave short orders through clenched teeth. "Take that loose one first. Not the beam. The beam's holding weight." Ease it, I said. Eliza knelt beside him in the dirt, passing tools, steadying lanterns, tying rope, listening. Her hands were not miner's hands, but they were sure hands, patient hands. She had spent years saving fabric others had ripped apart. Tonight the torn thing was stone and timber, and she worked it the same way, slow, exact, without waste. As they labored, more townsfolk came. Not many at first, a ranch hand, a widow with a shovel, a pair of teamsters with a sled of brick after word spread that warmth had been found under the ridge. Then others followed, coats wrapped tight, faces pale with cold and shame. They had laughed at Pike. They had used Eliza. Now they climbed the slope in the black of night because winter had stripped every lie down to bone. Amos Trent came too, though his swagger was gone. His beard had frozen white at the chin. "My youngest can't feel his feet," he said to no one in particular. "House is like a grave box." Pike did not even look at him. "Then pick up a crowbar." Amos did. Near midnight, the opening was made wide enough for a man to crawl through. Warmth rushed out stronger now, curling over their boots like invisible water. Pike tied a rope around his waist. Eliza caught his arm. "You're hurt." "So is the fool below." "You can barely stand." "I know the tunnel." She held his gaze. "Then tell me where to go." For a moment the storm seemed to vanish. There was only the heat from the shaft, the gold lantern light on stone, and the look in Pike's eyes. Then he shook his head once. "No. I am smaller than you. I can fit easier." "Eliza, you said the passage narrows after the break." His jaw tightened because he knew she was right. Jonah stepped forward. "I'll go." Pike turned to him. "You don't know the side vents." "I know how to pull a man from a hole." But Eliza was already taking the rope. She looped it around her waist with quick fingers. "You built this to save them," she said to Pike. "Let me help you finish it." The men stared at her as if they had never seen her before. Maybe they had not. Pike's voice dropped low. "There's a split 10 yards in. Left side falls deeper toward the heat chamber. Right side dead ends. Stay left. If the ground shifts, press flat and do not rush. Hear me." "I hear you." He reached out then and touched her wrist only once. It was not a bold touch. It was not a claim. It was fear and trust together. "Come back," he said. Eliza gave the faintest nod. Then she dropped to her knees and crawled into the earth. The stones scraped her shoulders. Dust filled her mouth. Broken timber pressed close on either side. Behind her, voices faded until there was only the sound of her own breathing and the drag of rope over rock. The tunnel bent. Heat thickened. At one point, the ceiling dipped so low she had to flatten herself an inch forward with one arm stretched ahead. In the dark, she remembered every cruel word ever spoken about her. The seamstress nobody wanted. Poor lonely Eliza. Quiet hands. Empty life. The words had once made her feel small. Now, buried under a mountain, they seemed like the chatter of foolish birds. Ahead, someone groaned. She pushed forward into a low chamber lit by a fallen lantern whose flame still held in its glass. There, pinned beneath a splintered support beam, lay Mayor Coyle. His fine coat was torn. Blood matted his hair. One leg was trapped under rock and timber. His eyes bulged with panic when he saw her. "You!" he gasped. "Yes," Eliza said. He looked past her toward the tunnel. "Where's Pike?" "Working." The mayor's mouth twisted with pain and humiliation. "Get me out." She knelt beside the beam and tested its weight, too much for one person. "I'll need the rope around your chest." His hands shook as she tied it. Even now, he could hardly bear to look directly at her. Perhaps that was habit, perhaps shame. "What were you doing down here?" she asked. He shut his eyes. wanted to see if he'd lied. And a bitter sound escaped him. No. Eliza looked past him then, deeper into the chamber. There it was. The thing Pike had found. The cut tunnel opened into a pocket of stone where warmth rose from the deep earth in waves. Brick channels lined one side, unfinished but clever, slanting upward toward narrow vents cut in the rock. In the center stood an iron grate chamber blackened by test fires. Not magic, not madness. Work, thought, endurance, hope hammered into stone. A man had built salvation under the town while others laughed at him in the street. Eliza swallowed hard and pulled the rope twice. The line tightened. Outside, men strained. The beam lifted enough for the mayor to scream and drag free. Eliza shoved him toward the passage, then followed, crawling beside him as he whimpered and cursed and begged them not to let the roof fall. When they finally emerged from the shaft, the night exploded with movement. Hands reached in. Mayor Coyle was hauled clear. Eliza came after him on bloody knees, hair full of dirt, face streaked with black. For one stunned second, no one spoke. Then Pike was there, dropping beside her, holding her shoulders. "You back?" he asked, as if he still could not trust his own eyes. "I am back," she said. He let out a breath that seemed to come from the deepest part of him. For behind them the mayor lay in the snow, gasping while Reverend Sloane and the doctor worked over his leg. Coyle gripped the preacher's sleeve and cried out, "The tunnel holds! The heat is there! For God's sake, finish it!" Those words ran through the crowd like fire through dry grass. No more mockery, no more speeches. The town set to work. What followed before dawn became the tale people would tell for years when winter winds hit the windows and children leaned close to listen. Miners, blacksmiths, ranch hands, widows, church boys, cooks, drifters, teamsters, and half-frozen shopkeepers labored side by side on the ridge. Pike gave orders until his voice turned raw. Jonah set brick. Amos Trent swung a pick until his palms bled. Reverend Sloane prayed while hauling stone. Mrs. Weller came near sunrise with kettles of broth and blankets, now her mouth thin with something like remorse. And Eliza moved among them all, with lamp and thread and cloth and iron will. She wrapped split hands, bound cuts, mended rope harness, stitched Pike's torn sleeve while he knelt in the dirt drawing new vent lines with charcoal. When a leather bellows strap snapped, she fixed it in minutes. When a church boy's coat ripped climbing rock, she patched it without even looking down. She held the work together the way she always had. Only now, at last, people saw it. By first light, the main throat was opened. By sunrise, the first grate was set under the church cellar. And when Pike ordered the fire chamber fed and the lower vent unsealed, everyone in Rattlesnake Hollow held still. Nothing happened. A long second passed, then another, then from the church steps below came a shout. Warm! It was one of the farm boys, hat in hand, running half mad with joy. Warm air! It's coming through! A cry went up from the ridge. Men laughed like they had survived hanging. Women wept openly. Someone fell to their knees in the snow and thanked heaven. Below them, down in the valley, doors opened. People spilled into the street. Steam rose from cellar grates one by one as the line caught life. First the church, then the mercantile, then the South Row, then the boarding house. The town had warmth beneath its feet. All that day they expanded the channels and fed the chambers. The deep earth gave what pride never could. By evening, the worst of the freeze had lost its teeth. No child died that night. No elder froze in bed. Stock still shivered, pipes still cracked, and winter still held the land in a hard fist. But Rattlesnake Hollow endured, because one mocked miner had built a road for warmth, and one unwanted seamstress had believed him when no one else would. 3 days later, when the storm finally broke and the sun returned thin and pale over the white hills, the whole town gathered on Main Street. Mayor Coyle stood on the church steps with a cane under one arm and shame plain on his face. His voice carried poorly in the cold, but it carried enough. "I have been a proud man," he said, "too proud to see sense when it stood before me in work clothes, too proud to honor goodness when it came without noise." He turned, slow and stiff, toward Pike and Eliza. Rattlesnake Hollow stands because of them. There was no cheering at first, only silence. Then Jonah Creed began to clap. Reverend Sloane joined him, then the farm boys. Then the widow from the livery, then others until the sound filled the whole frozen street. Eliza stood still as stone. She did not know what to do with praise. She had lived too long without it. Mrs. Weller stepped forward from the crowd. Her eyes were red from sleepless nights. In both hands she held a new sign, painted clean and careful. "I had this made," she said, voice unsteady. She turned it around. It read, "Eliza Vale, seamstress and tailor. No mockery, no spite, just her name." Eliza looked at it for a long time. "Thank you," she said at last. Mrs. Weller bowed her head because there are apologies too late for words. That evening, after the street had emptied and twilight turned the snow blue, Eliza stood outside her shop hanging the new sign. Pike came up beside her carrying a hammer. "You're crooked on the left side," he said. She glanced at him. "Then fix it." He did. When the sign hung true, they stepped back together. The town glowed softer now. Smoke rose steady. From beneath the church and the south row, faint warmth still breathed into the cold. Children laughed near the pump. A piano played somewhere far off. Rattlesnake Hollow was still rough, still proud, still flawed. But it was alive. Pike slid the hammer into his belt. "You still thinking of leaving?" Eliza looked down the street, then up toward the ridge, then at the sign bearing her own name. "No," she said. He nodded, as if that answer mattered to him more than he dared show. After a moment he asked, "Then what are you thinking?" She let the winter air fill her lungs. "That cruelty is loud," she said, "but it does not last, not like work, and not like kindness." Pike looked at her in that quiet way of his. "No." The wind moved lightly through the street, no longer a threat, only weather. Below them, deep in the earth, the warmth he had found still traveled through stone channels toward sleeping homes, and beside him stood the woman they had once cast aside, the woman who had outlasted every cruel tongue in town, not because she shouted louder, not because she struck back, but because quiet strength, like hidden fire under winter ground, keeps going long after pride has frozen and broken. The end.